Well, thanks for joining into today's episode. I'm Derek.
I'm Shay.
And I'm Sam.
And this is Amarillo Real Talk, and we are excited to be talking about how to keep your yard green, inside, outside, trees, shrubs, all the things with our man Kenneth from Coulter Gardens. We appreciate you taking your time to be on the show today. Welcome, Kenneth.
Thanks for having me.
We want to give a huge thank you to our sponsor for today's episode, ADT Home Security. ADT Home Security offers 6-month money-back guarantee, theft protection guarantee, worry-free professional installation, 145-plus years of industry experience, customizable packages, and 24/7 professional monitoring. If you're ready to ramp up your home security, contact Cody Pittman with ADT in Amarillo.
How do you keep a yard green? Tell me that.
So we got a fertilizer program. You know, you do fertilizer 3 times out of the year and do winterizer. But there's also big iron, is what we call it, just chelated iron, 25% iron, 25% sulfur, just to put down as you need it. So that'll really give you a good green up right there.
So you're saying...
But the problem is he lives out in the country. So here's another problem. Or that challenge, not problem.
Yeah. It's a problem and a challenge.
A challenge is he lives out in the country. And so I don't know if you know this area, but it's windy.
Oh, yeah.
And it's dry.
Yeah.
And so, and hot.
Yeah.
And all those three mixed together makes
It's going
it
to be 103 tomorrow. I mean, yeah.
I'm just thankful for the rain we've been getting.
Yep.
That rain, man, we got green fields waving at us right now.
We did get spoiled to it in May, so yeah, I bet you your yard was looking good.
It's looking great right now. You talked to me a year ago.
Right.
We'd have been having
we
a
were in a
story.
drought. Yeah. So
I got dirt in my backyard a year ago. Right now everything's green. My dog Cinco, he's a husky, and he is living the dream back there every day, man.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well,
So there's good summer fertilizer to put down called Fertilone Green Maker, and we have our own brand called Coulter Gardens 1822. Has a good percentage of iron with it, and there's a product called Humic, Humic. What that is humic acid, and what that'll do is kind of help unlock soil nutrients. It'll help with fertilizing. It'll improve that. It'll help eat up that. It's just kind of like a yogurt for your lawn. It just does all kinds of good things for it. So
yogurt for your lawn.
There we go.
Just got real.
Hey.
Boost your heat ravaged lawn. Which we're going to get with these 103-degree days coming up tomorrow and Wednesday. Yeah.
Now, also, if you're, out there as a realtor and you're looking at putting on some listings, man, I hope you're listening to this because, man, as a listing agent, how important is it that your landscaping, that your front yard, especially for the photos, look like tip top?
Boy, that's
Looking
important.
crisp.
Right.
Especially if you're like anything like my wife. If we're going to go look at a house and the outside is janky, that's going to be a turnoff immediately. So listing photos too, I mean, just one more thing to stand out.
Yeah.
Beautiful green yard. Beautiful green yard. Colors with flowers, things that really make the aesthetic of the outside pop, that really just draw you into the home. Super important. Right. And the thing that a lot of people don't understand is, like, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars to get something looking decent. So my man Kenneth, I'm glad you're on the show today.
Exactly. How about we just start out with asking, so tell me kind of a background on, well, Coulter Gardens specifics. I think when I think of the Amarillo area, I think these people, the Coulter Gardens, knows what they're doing. They've been in business for a long time. They know the area, which is important. Right. So tell us a little bit about Coulter Gardens, about like what y'all do, how long y'all been there, and what kind of knowledge you can give.
So we're a retail garden center and nursery. We sell plants, we sell trees, shrubs, insecticide, chemical, house plants, and everything all around that. So back in 1978, Jim and Sheila Reed started this business, and actually it's not at the location it is now. It was down the street. You all know where Taco Villa is on Coulter, and there's that RX Pharmacy right there.
Yep.
That was the original Coulter Gardens.
Very cool.
Wow.
Back in 1978, and so they had some land back there that they would, kind of pay rent for and lease for, and they were just like, well, why don't we just kind of build our own place? So that's where we're at now. Back in 1990, they built the Big Red Barn on Coulter, so it moved in 91. So.
Which is a cool place. I'm telling you, my son, when he was younger, especially, had the waterfalls going out there and all the little shrubbery, he was like, can we just go in there? And
just go look.
I'll put a hammock up and just hang out for the day, read.
So we got a lot of property, a lot of land now to for that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
I got to say one thing, though, Kenneth.
Right.
I'm a little mad at you guys right now, only because my wife walked in there the other day and got a whole lot of amazing things that helped our yard out. I told you I can't keep anything green. Right. We had tons of weeds, and whatever you gave us, I was with a backpack sprayer for about an hour and a half getting after it. And it worked.
Right.
So I know I'm mad at y'all because I'm going to be back in there probably today to get more stuff. My wife is going to send me on runs about every week because it works so good.
Yep.
So,
Hey, we're going to have to get a picture of that.
Oh,
with
man.
the backpack sprayer on.
I think she might have been blackmail photoing me as I'm walking back and forth.
We may have to throw that on here.
So there's a lot of stuff that goes with that, with your lawns and everything. There's some things that, number 3, ways to kill a tree or bad for your lawn is to overwater your lawn. So sprinkler system wise, we get into that. We have what we call watering tips that just now that we're above 95 degrees and you need to be watering about an inch every time you water, about 3 days a week. So So number 2 thing could be, other than watering too often, would be, putting down weed and feeds, the wrong weed and feed. Those, the granules can be so potent it can just affect tree roots. So that can, affect your trees. It can affect your lawns too.
Wow.
Yeah.
So don't just go buy the weed and feed from Walmart and call it a day, huh?
Right. Yeah.
Come see you first.
Right. Yeah. So and the number, looking at trees and shrubs, and people bring stuff in all the time, and if it's on trees specifically, usually what we can see is people with their weed eater getting too close to trees, doing damage to the trunk and things like that. So that can affect your trees too. So
here's a random question on the subject of trees. You see a lot of yards out there now, especially out there where we live, who they'll kind of cut out some space around the tree, put in mulch and flowers and all that stuff. How is that? Good for a tree, bad for a tree, etc.
It can be good for a tree because that tells whoever's mowing or whoever's weed eating, number 1, don't
stay away from it.
Yeah, stay away from the truck. Yeah. So, but too much mulch, it can hold in moisture. So we got to watch that too. So on there.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All these things.
That's what I'm saying.
So much,
That's what I'm saying is like for the ordinary guy,
right,
or gal that doesn't know what they're talking about, and or doesn't know all this, and they just walk out of the front yard and they're like seeing let's say they just look out in their yard, it doesn't look healthy, it's not getting green, or it's got a lot of weeds in it, but they're saying, well, I'll water like it's set up, let's say they have a new construction or whatever, they automatically have their sprinkler set. I didn't change the watering thing, I'm watering enough. What's the answer to this? Like, what's the problem with this? So we need to you would just suggest come in?
And a lot of that is, new construction, you can have new sod or new seed or whatever, and you got to baby water it. You got to have a shallow watering for root development. But if you don't change that after, 2 or 3 weeks and start doing more water less often, those roots are going to stay shallow. In 103, 105 degree days, they're going to suffer, especially on fescue lawns or bluegrass lawns. So, you got to change your watering to do more water, like I was saying, 3 days a week, but less often, not an everyday 10-minute watering. And I get too many people of those come in. And just saying how much you watering, it's every day for 10 minutes. And that's, are you doing new seed or sod? Or, it's been there for about 3 or 4 years. And I was like,
So what
got to change that up. Yeah.
But what you're saying is like it's getting watered so often that the roots they're just staying shallow because they're like, why do I need to go deeper? Because I got this water that's right here.
Sure. You need to go more water, encourage deeper roots. So, that's going to be the answer on, sprinkler systems or whatever. Some people hand water, but yeah.
Man,
But a lot of them with sprinkler systems. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, that makes it a lot easier if you can if you have a sprinkler system. But sometimes you got to make do with what you got. I mean, we have neighbors around us that don't have sprinkler systems, and I mean, they've been able to keep their lawns. Well, right now it's a little bit easier.
It's
easier this year. But we're loaded on sprinklers. So if you have to, lawn sprinklers or whatever, we're loaded on that.
Okay, good.
But
Good to know.
not for like I said, the heat's coming back.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Is there a specific type of grass or a couple of different types that do better here in Amarillo and just in your experiences?
Sure.
That you've seen?
So that's a great question. So 4 great grasses that do good here in Amarillo would be your fescue, and your bluegrass. Those would be cool season grasses. And then Bermuda and buffalo would be warm season grasses. So,
Okay.
those are going to be the main 4 types. You can get into the rye a little bit for winter cover crop or annual rye, perennial rye. Some people are doing white Dutch clover right now, and so that's going to be a drought tolerant. But to do it for a whole lawn, that's, I would still probably go to fescue or bluegrass. So, fescue predominantly.
Well, only because you mentioned this, I had a client actually say this the other day. They have almost 2 acres. And so he was like, my upkeep on that's so much. He said, what we're trying to do is maybe put some type of clover in like a certain section of it just to like give a beautiful covering. But then what that would do is just like move their maintenance portion of their yard back a lot so they don't have to maintain it so much. Have you seen a lot of that here or any tips you have there?
We've seen a little bit of that, or go with buffalo just out in the open and then come up to what you're going to enjoy as a lawn where you're going to be, where your pets are going to be or whatever, to do the fescue lawn or Bermuda lawn or whatever up closer to the house.
That's a good tip. So buffalo or something like that's exterior and then where you want your yard space to be, your enjoyment space to do what you were just saying. Okay.
Correct.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And the importance of this, one, of course, we want it to be aesthetic, but I just went out to a home, I guess it'd be a few weeks ago, and what I found was that they weren't keeping the lawn up, or maybe they weren't keeping the lawn up, but they didn't know how to keep the lawn up. So it was one of those deals. But what I saw was a lot of erosion. And man, you talk about some foundation issues that can come with that. So, am I correct on saying that the lawn is really the erosion keeper outer?
You're correct in saying that. So a lot of that has to do with our Amarillo clay soil. So if we were in Lubbock, we'd be sandy. If we were north of the Canadian River, it's sandy or whatever. But here in Amarillo, we are just clay, compact, hard soil. So there's ways to combat that. It's a hobby. It's a process. But gypsum and the humic product would do that. But gypsum helps break down clay soil, and so we go through that a little bit. Yeah.
So as a homeowner, it's an investment.
It's an investment. You want that investment to be crucial and everything to look good. So you need to do that investment. Yeah.
So tips for sellers out there. If you're looking to sell your home in the summertime or fall time or winter time or whenever you're looking to sell, get with Kenneth over at Coulter Gardens and tell them about your yard. What are your struggles? What problems are you having right now? And they can give you good guidance and advice on how to get your yard green, ready for listing photos, ready for market. We even talked about earlier jokingly, but they do have a dye too. So if you're struggling, Brad, and you're in a time crunch, you can spray some green on all your stuff and make it look good.
Just to get those pictures done.
That's right. Just for them listing photos.
That's right. How often do you get it? And is it helpful if someone were to just, like me, I may have done this in the past or needed to do this in the past, just say, I don't know what the heck is going on with my yard. I'm going to snap a photo on my iPhone and I'm going to go up to Coulter Gardens and say, here's what I got. It's bad.
That's extremely helpful. If we see it, we know what's going on. Just don't call the store and say, hey, I've got this problem, or I'm looking for this one green plant and it goes dormant during the winter, and we're not going to know what's going on. We need to see what's going on.
I got this brown bush looking like a weed. I need a little smoke in my chili. What do you got for me, Kenneth? Don't do that?
Right.
Okay.
So pictures are great, or just coming in and just being in front and being up front with you and just talking to you and talking you through everything would be the answer on that. You can always, email us or text it to us or whatever too. But yeah, coming into the store, that way we see what's going on.
And not only that with the grass, but from our conversation earlier, that same thing goes with trees, right?
Trees, shrubs, or bedding plants, house plants, or whatever. So, yeah, we got experts that have been there for well over 10 years, and managers and everything that are well experienced in all of those. Yeah.
Okay. What about? Here's another question. So, I just have a difficult time with a flower bed. I just do. Is it a problem with? I guess. Do you have is there a certain location on the house that are good for flower beds, or does it matter? Is it the soil that's the problem? Is it the person planting the flowers that's the problem?
So you said
operator error.
Yeah, you said it. The second thing you said, may not be the operator, but it is the soil. So soil prep is crucial for the plant survival down the road. I mentioned our clay soil and adding gypsum. And then there's what they call a cut-and-burn compost called back to earth to incorporate in that soil, rototillate all of it in, and then start and grow for, just like a starter fertilizer. It's a granule that you would do. Okay. And then the most important thing that I can recommend on new trees and shrubs, on planting them, whether we plant them or whether you plant them, is to go beyond that first planting of root stimulator, is what the product's called, and do it for a full year, once a month. So full 12 applications, basically, of root stimulator, and that is so crucial for the plant survival down the road. You get a good root system in that first year, it's going to take off that second, third, and fourth year.
Okay.
That's good. Right. Can we touch on that too? Just talking about trees, talking about roots, is there a distance that you recommend planting trees from the house to maybe prevent some future foundation things? Or with concrete?
Yeah, there is. You could do, bigger shade trees like your lacebark elms, your shademaster locusts, or zelkovas. There's several trees that go into that. Bloodgood sycamore is a good one. Those are going to be your bigger shade trees, so you don't want those close to the house. They'll get 40 by 40, so you need to go 25, 30 foot away from the house, But there are also ornamental trees like your red buds. Yeah, rural raindrops, crabapple. Don't let the word crabapple scare people when I say the rural raindrops, because it's the less mess crabapple. It's a hybrid crabapple. It's a crab tree, and so they don't make much of a mess. So ornamental trees can go a little bit, 10 or 15 foot away from the house, because they'll get about 20 by 20. But out in away from the house would be your bigger shade trees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's a question.
Really good.
If you got a flower bed that's closer to your patio, your front porch, or whatever in front of the house, we just kind of are we're on the back side now of mosquito season.
Oh, okay. Right.
But what are some things you could plant to get them bad boys away from the house?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Great question.
Yeah. So there's plenty of mosquito plants. There's going to be anything with the botanical, the senses on that. But there's geranium plants. There's a type of geranium that would be good for that. There's going to be lemongrass is good for that. So basically like lemon oil. So there's several, plants that can be insect repellent. Now, we've blown through a lot of those, and so there's also granules or, sprays that have that same, stuff in them. So you can still do it like that. Cedar is a great product to repel mosquitoes. So cedar granules or a cedar spray. Yeah, cedar mulch.
My goodness.
Cedar's a great insect, especially for mosquitoes repelling. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good to know, especially with all the moisture that we've had here that we're not typically used to here in the Panhandle with all of this humidity and moisture, but there's been a lot of mosquitoes.
Well, we had the three waves. Yeah. We had moths.
Yes.
And then it went to mosquitoes. Yeah. And at the back end of mosquito season's fly season, so flies are terrible right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So not only that, but it sounds like those are see it like a natural product and still have to use chemicals and all that kind
Yeah,
of stuff. So.
and if you want to use chemical, that's fine, but a lot of them can be natural too.
Right.
So yeah,
Right on.
yeah, like safe for your lawn, safe for your garden or whatever, safe for pets once it's dry to touch.
That's what I was
Obviously,
gonna
you
ask.
don't want them out there while you're spraying. And,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah.
So you got some stuff that are pet friendly.
Correct.
That's
Right.
That's good. That's good.
What are some common, I guess, what are some things that are some of your most popular items for yards or gardens that, as far as a tree type or a shrub type, or what are some things that you see very, very common that people here in the Panhandle are like, yeah, let's. There's got to be some things that are more heavily purchased than other things, I'm assuming.
So like for your case, being out there in the open, out in the country, windbreaks or whatever would be like an Austrian pine. Those do extremely well.
My wife has been on me to get some pines. So
yeah.
There you go.
So
She's gonna, as soon as we get done, you're in trouble again.
Yeah, sure.
Because you're so good
I
at
don't
what
mind
you
that
do.
a bit. So yeah, so Austrian pine is a great windbreak for shade trees. Lacebark elm, it's a good elm. It's has a real pretty lacy look to the bark. A lot of customers will come in, hey, I've got this tree and the bark's peeling. It's sometimes a lacebark elm. It's actually a good thing. So yeah,
That's cool.
so yeah, there's Zocobas. I think off of I-40 here we have the record for one of the biggest Kentucky coffee trees, and we don't hear about those too often. Yeah, and it's and we sell those, so we just started doing that. So Kentucky coffee tree is good. Autumn purple ash is a great shade tree, so great fall color if people like that. And so then you can get into the shrubs that also have great fall color, whether it's sun, whether it's shade, whether it's evergreen. Butterfly bush is real good, and so those are good pollinators. So people like pollinators too. So yeah, there's several good shrubs that would do good. Yeah.
Awesome.
I
Okay.
love that. Well, how did you get into all of this?
So so getting into all this was just I was kind of in between jobs, and so somebody recommended, hey, go to Coulter Gardens. There are good people there, and they're fixing to be hiring for the spring, and just see what they got. So and I was doing that. I was turning in other applications. I think there was one for City of Amarillo, and I was doing that. So I was I got on at Coulter Gardens, and it was in February. I remember my first day there. It was a cold day, February of '03, and Warren, who's the owner now, took after his mother and father, Jim and Sheila. So sent me to the greenhouse. Hey, I've got this little bitty greenhouse to put together. So it's a little, that can go in your backyard. So that was my first day there at Coulter Gardens, was building this greenhouse in the cold. And I was like, did I really sign
Is
up
this a
for
good choice?
this? Yeah. At least I was indoors in the greenhouse, in the out of the elements outside. So, but after that, getting on in the shrub light, I was going to be outside and learning all the shrubs and learning all the trees and a lot of watering and helping customers and this, that, and the other. And then all of a sudden, we had an opening on the floor in the front for a floor manager. Our previous floor manager had gone back to college, so I joined forces and came back on in the floor and learned all that. And so here I am today after that. So we got through, so many years, and then through COVID and everything, that was kind of a big change for everybody. And so we lost some employees. So a lot of us had to step up, including myself, including Warren, including all the current employees that we've had. But some of them had left, and so, but that was that's when I learned the most, I think. That year of 2020, people were stuck at home. And what did they want to do? They wanted to work on their homes. So they got out, did some lawn, did some gardening, and so come in. We were fortunate to stay open during all that time. Right. So, and so that was really a game changer for us. And to get in front of these people and to really help them. And now they keep coming back. A lot of people were doing vegetable gardens for the first time. They didn't know if they were going to be working, so let's grow our own vegetables or whatever. Went through a lot of soil, a lot of vegetable seed, a lot of vegetable plants. So, and here we go. So, yeah.
And that's
now
awesome.
I
think
hooked,
that, I think that just also attributes to the culture and the people of Amarillo that a local business like that, a lot of people wanted to stay home and they were doing a lot of things outside because everybody was being kept in the house. So getting outside and gardening or working on their yards or exterior of their houses, whatever, just trying to get outside. But just going back to that, I think that attributes to the people of Amarillo and wanting to support local businesses, because I think it would have been just as easy to go to somewhere that's maybe a larger company that I don't know, maybe doesn't have that local feel or that local presence.
Right.
So that, man, I love that. I love that you guys were able to stay open when things were really, really challenging. But man, that just goes back to Amarillo and how loyal people
Well,
are.
1,000%. You think about it too, especially during that time. You had Amazon. You online order anything you needed to.
That's right.
So I love the fact that you guys are still rocking and rolling. I'm still mad at you because you do such a good job. But no, I was going to actually ask you about. So, what all services do you guys have there at Coulter Gardens that people may or may not know that they could come in and what all do you guys do there?
Yeah, so our main thing is we plant trees and shrubs. So and they come with a guarantee, whether you plant them or we plant them or whatever. So our planting crew and our guys doing that's a great service to offer. Another service is if you've got questions or if you have anything going on with your lawns or trees or shrubs, bring it in and we'll diagnose it. We'll kind of walk you through, see what you need to do, and get you through the steps to improve your success in the future. So that's another service that we do. So, and just to be in front of customers and just to offer, and just our motto, if our slogan would be "Come see what's blooming." Come in and see what's blooming.
That's cool.
But Jim and Sheila, after all the years that they had spent, building this business, would be quality and service and knowledge. Those three words is what we want to offer.
That's incredible. I love that.
Man, very cool.
Okay, so hey, let's talk real quick about we talked about the outdoor part. Now let's talk a little bit about the indoor plants. What do you suggest for survivability on some indoor plants?
So, like bromeliad, there's oak leaf ivy, there's monstera, and that's also known as one of my favorites. You can't who doesn't like Swiss cheese plant? So that's what it's called. So its common name is Swiss cheese plant. And then you can do things like bougainvillea. You don't see them unless you're in California outside, but you bring them inside here. And in kind of transition. So if you do take plants outside, don't do it during the winter because they'll be in a pot. The temperature outside is going to be the temperature of that pot, and they're going to freeze. So October through May, have them inside, and then May through September, take them outside. So they can be, a sun and shade thing, going indoors and outdoors. So transition mode, take them out the garage a few days and then outside or whatever. But just let them acclimate. Just don't take them out on a 103-degree day like we had last summer in May.
Oh, yeah.
It was so hot last summer.
Yeah. You made another good point, too, about indoor plants, talking about the water, making sure that you're not overwatering indoors.
Mm-hmm. Right. So they're not going to dry out as much indoors. So, just checking them every, 4 or 5 days, get you a moisture meter or however you want to do that. But, don't water your plants every day.
I was going to ask how you know if they have enough water or not, and just poke the ground or probe it.
You can just get you a little probe or something and just probe it. And if it's moist, don't water. Let it dry out between waterings on your house plants. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Do you guys have? I'm sure, but do you guys have fruit plants fruit trees?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
So fruit trees, we do. So there can be, apple trees, there can be cherry trees, peach trees. So they're pear trees. So all your fruit trees, we usually do. We get them in the early spring, March and April. So we sell a lot of them, and so availability during the summer months and winter months is not as much as they would be, right now during the spring and early summer.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, that's good. Well, do you guys have any lemon or lime trees?
Those we didn't get too many of those this year. We did some other ones of that, but
Yeah. So you
tropical,
guys, you can buy
normally,
them there. Okay.
right, yeah,
okay.
normally we have those. So,
Well,
where's this going?
It kind of makes me
Right.
laugh. My father-in-law has a lemon tree. So they live in Southwest Colorado, and their house is kind of like I guess one part of it is an octagon type of a shape, and they have windows that face that entire thing. It overlooks the valley. I mean, it's incredible. It's beautiful. But my father-in-law is really big about indoor plants, and so he has all kinds. But his pride and joy right now is his lemon tree that he's got inside. And I mean, it's doing well. It's actually pretty funny that there's lemons that are growing on it.
Oh yeah, they're very cool. Sometimes we'll have them, sometimes not. It just depends on the grower and the way sometimes they ship them. If they ship them on a flatbed truck in March, they're going to freeze on the transportation or whatever. So they're very tropical. We got to have them, treated inside of our greenhouse environment. We don't have them outside or whatever, or in our house plant area. So
But is that a big deal? Like, do you get a lot of people that want to grow tropical fruits like that keep them in a greenhouse or inside?
There are a few of them. Yeah.
Man, okay.
Yeah. So tropicals are good. So which are house plants. So, yeah.
I got a question. This is on behalf of my daughter, actually.
Okay.
She told me she wants to start a flower business, and so. What flower would you recommend my daughter starting her business around that's easy to grow and easy
I love
to...
the entrepreneurial spirit.
Oh, man, that's my daughter to a T.
So,
She's
Oakley,
8. She's 8, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. She's 8. Yeah. So all your ivies. So oak leaf ivy, pothos ivy. There's several different ivies. Those are just great and hard to kill plants. So
That's good.
So do those. So
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
You bet.
Oh man, that's good. What about rose bushes? So we've got a few, and I feel like we go out. We heard from a good friend of ours that actually used to own a flower shop up in Colorado. But she was telling us a certain distance. I can't remember what it is, but that you cut down, and then after a short amount of time, it'll just grow back pretty much where it's at. But what's your recommendation?
Yeah,
there?
and roses, are the exception to other shrubs here. So cutting them back would be in April. Okay. And what you want to do is go down to your crown, and that's the bottom of your rose where it's coming out of the ground, and pick your 3 best canes. And so when you get the 4, 5, 6 canes coming out of the ground like that, that's where they can go wild. Gotcha. But pick your 3 best canes and then cut them back to about, knee high or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. That's good advice.
That's great.
That is great
awesome.
advice.
What about when they're starting to blossom? Like when do you cut those off bring them inside? My wife loves having fresh flowers, and we'll go out there all the time, and they come back pretty fast.
Right.
What is that? What's the recommendation? Like, is there a certain amount of distance that you want from the flower to how much stem you're cutting? Right.
Just think of it like if you were buying a rose in the flower shop or wherever. You can go 6 or 8 inches down.
Okay.
Don't cut it right there at the bud. So get you a stem that's 6 or 8 inches. I had a friend, and I'm a little jealous, and I didn't hear about this till yesterday, but he was telling about a story, and he was on a medical mission in Ecuador. And so he's taking pictures and everything, going through those pictures. But in one of those pictures, they had these greenhouses. And so he was talking about these greenhouses and what they grow, and they're famous for their roses. But they're not your 6, 8, 10-inch roses. These are your tall stem roses.
Oh, yeah.
And see, Ecuador, right there on the equator or whatever, that is the perfect environment for their rose growing. And I was like, man, I would love to get my hands on those. So, he said, man, good luck, because a lot of these roses, they ship them to Russia. And so we get a few of them here in the States or whatever, but he said Russia is their main source. So
They just buy them up.
Ship them out there to Russia. And I wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't either. It's crazy.
Right.
That is wild.
But roses are great for anywhere. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so what about the guys that are listening who's a bare minimalist, who says, it's November, the grass has stopped growing, I just want to stop worrying about my yard. But also in the springtime, like I want to have a nice yard, but in the wintertime, I want to take a break.
Right.
Is there anything? What do you say? What do you say to the people that come in to do that?
You gotta take care of your yard during the winter. So last winter we were in a drought, all summer long, and we were in a drought in the winter. We didn't have much snowfall, and so winterizer is like a fertilizer. It's just high in that last number, which is your potash, to protect your roots. Put that down, late October, 1st of November, and then put your lawn to bed. Like you're saying, for the winter. I don't want to do anything else. I want to put it to bed, and I want to have the best chances of wake up in the spring. And then we hit it with a high-release fertilizer in March and April. Our Coulter Gardens 1600 is great for that. All nitrogen and 8% iron, so that's a good growth and green up, what we call it, for the spring. Okay. But winterizer, and it's not just for your lawns. It's for your trees and shrubs, too. Just make an extra pass around your trees and shrubs. We just had so much, that dry freeze damage. We had some freezes, but they were just so dry on a lot of evergreens. A lot of, boxwoods didn't look good this spring. A lot of hollies didn't look good this spring. And people were just like, oh, I'm digging them out of the ground, and I'm going to come buy new ones. I was like, no, don't dig them out of the ground. Don't give up on them. They're going to have new growth. It may be Mother's Day before they have that, but let's encourage them. Let's feed them. Let's get out the bad, and let's just kind of go from there. But no reason they're not totally dead. So
that's interesting because I've been driving around and I've been noticing some of the evergreens that are just like really struggling.
Right. And it's from the December, January, and February, just dry freezes. We got our first freeze in November, sure, but the hard freezes, the dry ones that we had this winter, really affected a lot of plants, but especially the evergreens like your boxwoods and hollies.
Awesome. Yeah. Wow. All right. So, where can people find you at if they want to come if they're listening to this, they want to get the best advice and the best products? Okay.
So, Coulter Gardens, 4200 Coulter Street. Just come in, and what you'll have up front in front of you is our cashiers. So, and they can direct you to probably the office is where we'll be. Yeah, if I'm not up front, I'll be in the office, and just come on in with your pictures, photos, whatever. Do that. Just give us a little bit of history, what's going on.
Well, I can't wait because as you were talking about the winterizer, I'm over here just like, oh no, Tamara's going to hear this, and I'm going to be coming to see you again. And so, is that going to be a granule or is that going to be a spray product for me?
Okay. Oh, it's going to be probably a spray. So
I'll be out there with my backpack on getting after it.
There you go. Another problem we can have is the granule weed and feeds. We keep them in the back of the store. So a person can come in the front and grab this weed and feed, and just, it's just so potent. So the sprays are better. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, if you have any questions about your yard, trees, shrubs, how to keep everything green and not kill it, and all that good stuff, you go holler at Kenneth down at Coulter Gardens. They'll take good care of you. Man, we appreciate you having you on the show today. That's a lot of good information, especially for us.
Yep.
Yeah, I bet you. I appreciate you guys having me. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been
fun. Thank you so much. Awesome.
Thank you.